Hi, my name is Daragh Carter. I'm one of the attorneys here at Smith& Hassler. I will have been at Smith& Hassler for 20 years this coming April of 2026. I've spent pretty much my entire legal career representing injured people. I'm making this video to talk to you about police reports for motor vehicle accidents and just to give you a sense of how they're laid out and what information is contained in a police report and really just kind of talk you through what you're looking at and where to find some of the key information on a police report. I'm going to do that by sharing my screen, and I'm going to show you an actual crash report. What I've done is I went through the crash report, I removed all of the identifying information and just changed it out for dummy information, but this is how a real crash report would look. So let me try to share my screen here, and we'll start talking through it. All right, so starting January 1st of 2026, the state of Texas adopted a new format of crash report. And of course, people like me who look at crash reports every day immediately freaked out and said, oh, I don't like this. This is different from what we used to. So we're all kind of in the process of adjusting to this new format. And so for all crashes on or after January 1st of 2026, this should probably be the format of police report. So handy hint for you when you're looking at these things is you kind of look for these headings. So here's one, crash and location information. Here's another one, environmental and roadway conditions. So if you look for those kind of mid-page headings, it will give you an idea of what information is below that heading. So let's start with this first section up here, crash and location information. So you've got things like the date of the crash, the time of the crash, total units, that's how many different vehicles or sometimes pedestrians were involved, how many people were involved, because of course you can have more than one person in a vehicle. Was there a fatality? Was a commercial vehicle involved? And so on. It also tells you which county and city the crash occurred in. So that's kind of the basics of the location. Then below that, there's a bit more detail about where the crash happened. And that will be where they list the specific road on which the crash happened. And that's going to be this section here. And it lists things like, you can see here, the speed limit on that roadway. Below that, we've got a bit more information, and they sometimes use this nearest intersecting road or reference marker. Like if you have a crash on the freeway, they might say that you were 500 feet from the exit to go to Airtex or something like that. Try to give a reference point if it happened on a freeway. And here I've just, invented some streets. I've said it happened on Smith Street near the intersection of Northwest Hassler Freeway. Okay, moving on. This section, environmental and roadway conditions. So here is where the officer would list things like whether it was raining or foggy or that type of thing. Was it nighttime or was it daylight? That sort of thing. That the road surface was wet. Traffic control, in this case, it's a stop sign. It could be a traffic light, that sort of thing. So that's what gets listed there. And then this last section on this first page, this is the investigator's information. So that just identifies the officer who created the crash report and then did the investigation. So I have their name, what department they're with, their ID number, that sort of thing. Okay, below that, we've got a crash diagram. They're not to scale. These aren't always going to be right. Sometimes there's errors, but it's just a simple diagram showing how the crash occurred. In this case, we've got Unit 1 running into the back of Unit 2, who is waiting at a stop sign. So let's go on now to the second page. This is a bit more dense. There's a lot more information here. So this first section up here, we've got the investigator's narrative. So this is where the officer who prepares this report types up a simple summary of how the officer believes the crash happened. So if we kind of read through this one, it says Unit 1 was traveling eastbound on Mitchelldale Street. Oh, I should have changed that to our fictitious Smith Street in Lane 1 behind Unit 2. Both units were preparing to merge onto the Northwest Freeway. I should have changed that to the Northwest Hassler Freeway, but that's fine. Unit 2 came to a stop to yield the right of way to southbound traffic on the Northwest Freeway, and Unit 1, I'll talk to you about this in a second, failed to control speed and struck Unit 2. Driver of Unit 1 admitted fault. Driver of Unit 2 stated that he had neck pain but refused medical on scene. BWC activated. And that BWC activated means the officer's body-worn camera was activated. All right. So now we're moving into unit information. And what that really means is information about the vehicles involved in the crash. Unit numbers, excuse me, are used to identify vehicles or bicycles or pedestrians involved in the crash. Usually, but not always, Unit 1 is going to be the at-fault vehicle. But vehicles are labeled by unit number. So in this case, we've got unit number 1. And in this section here is a bunch of information about unit 1, which in this case, we know is a black 2025 Toyota Avalon. So it lists the vehicle type. There's other information in here. It's a Texas license plate. Here's the license plate number, which I made up. Here's the VIN, which I made up. And then below that, we start getting into, did they have proof of financial responsibility? What that means is, did they have insurance? Name of the insurance company. Here we got Progressive. This would be the policy number. And then we've got some owner information about the vehicle. In this case, it's Mark Wahlberg. There's Mark's address here in Houston. Then we've got a description of where on the vehicle the damage occurred. So they use a clock face as a reference. So 12 o'clock would mean that the damage was to the front of the vehicle. And then there's information about if it was towed and what towing company towed the vehicle. So moving down to this section here, we've got primary person in unit 1. So they're going to list the driver, and then also elsewhere in the report, if there are passengers, the passengers would get listed too. So this is going to be information about who was driving unit number 1. You can see we got Mark Wahlberg's name here, and we've got his driver's license number, and there's things on there like whether he's injured, how old he is, ethnicity, that sort of thing. So information about the driver. Now this next section here on this second page is charges. And if anybody got a ticket, and it could be any of the drivers involved, they'd be listed here. In this case, Mark Wahlberg got a ticket for failure to control speed. And what that means is not that he was speeding, it means that he was not able to come to a safe, controlled stop without striking the vehicle in front. And, there could be all kinds of different charges that could be listed here. It could be DWI. It could be failure to yield the right of way, that sort of thing. So kind of similar to what the officer did for Unit 1, which was our black Avalon, driven by Mark Wahlberg. We've got Unit 2, which was the other vehicle involved. And, just same kind of thing, just different vehicle this time. We know that this one is a white-colored 2017 Hyundai Santa Fe Sport. We got the license plate there, insured by Allstate, and there's the policy number. And who's the owner? Well, it's Robert De Niro in this case, and there's Mr. De Niro's address. So that's just information about the second vehicle involved. And then, just as the officer did for Mark Wahlberg, here we've got the information on the primary person, meaning the driver of unit number 2. So here we've got Robert De Niro's name, his address, driver's license number, his age, if he was injured. So here we've got a possible injury noted. Then A little below that, we've got this disposition of killed or injured. What that means is if somebody was hurt or killed in this crash, what was done with them? Did they leave in their own car? Were they taken by ambulance? Did somebody else take them to the hospital? That kind of thing. And in this case, Mr. De Niro chose not to be transported, and he declined to take the ambulance ride. Okay, below that, the last section here is we've got witness information. Sometimes there are no witnesses, in which case this would be blank. In this case, there was a witness. Our witness was none other than Sofia Vergara, name you may recognize. Miss Vergara witnessed this crash and provided her information. Okay, next we're going to move into statements. Now, the way HPD do their reports is they have a separate page for each statement. In this case, we've got Mr. Wahlberg, whose phone number may be familiar to the true Houstonians among you, 281-330-8004. And this is the statement from Mr. Wahlberg. He just, it's not verbatim. This is the officer just summarizing what Mr. Wahlberg said about how the crash happened. I've been doing this a long time, and I have seen some truly wild statements over the years. This one's pretty benign. Okay, and then this would be the statement from Mr. De Niro, the other driver involved in the crash. And then lastly, we've got the statement from our witness, Sofia Vergara, who just happens to have the same phone number as your friends here at Smith and Hassler, 1-800-WIN-WIN-1. And, her summary statement is, I saw the black Toyota Avalon run into the back of the white Hyundai. Then the last page here is just an enlarged version of that diagram that we saw on the very first page. Now, this is not all of the information. I didn't cover all of the information that's in a crash report. There's a lot more than what I showed you, but what I showed you there were kind of the high points. Oftentimes, the police report can be an important part of a car wreck case and also a very important source of information for us representing injured people. Because in a very severe crash where a client is badly hurt and they're immediately whisked off by paramedics to the emergency room, they're not able to gather information at the scene. They literally have no idea what vehicle hit them or who was driving it or who insured that vehicle or any of these things. And we have to rely upon the police report a lot of times to be able to get that information. If we represent you here at Smith and Hassler, you don't have to worry about getting the crash report. We do that for you, along with a lot of other things besides. So I hope this was helpful to you. If you have been involved in a crash, particularly if it just happened, please give us a call. We'd be happy to give you a free consultation. You will get to speak to an attorney. Attorneys do the intake here at Smith and Hassler, and you will get a proper free case evaluation without any pressure to hire us. We'll just kind of talk to you about, what your options are and how the law works and a whole bunch of information. At the end of it, you'll be much better informed than if you never called. Thanks for watching.